people are like, oh, it would be so hard to undo all the corruption that exists within the system. No, it's actually relatively easy.
Oh, I need to hear this. How?
It's not America first to set the conditions that will later harm America.
Yeah. Just creating new terrorists for the future.
I think that's right. And look, I mean, anybody who is honest and looks at what's happening in Gaza right now has got to be absolutely sickened by it.
That's where the hollow earth theory starts coming in. But
now we have another,
just provide the other
but
end
that
of that.
hollow earth is they're
hollow
saying
flat earth.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds.
Have you ever read about the reasons they attacked us? They attack us because we've been over there.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
What's up, Doom Nation, and welcome back. You are listening to the Two Doom Men podcast. As always, it's Skaggs and yours truly, the captain, and we have another great episode for you this week. What's up, buddy? What's on the docket today?
Fresh off of our Emmy-nominated performance for Halloween, the Pine Barrens episode. I hope everyone caught that. I hope you enjoyed it. We sure as hell did. If no one else enjoyed it, well, at least we fucking did. I can tell you that much.
Yes. I think we should. I think the beginning of this show should be the Two Doom Men HBO thing.
Maybe we should. Yeah, maybe we should update the intro to include more of our stupid shit
that came out. Fantastic, such amazing low budget quality.
Oh yeah.
Just beautiful. It was. I gotta say, it was much less cringeworthy than watching all of us cut the wrestling promos from the year prior.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think
the cringe is what makes it, in my opinion, though. I enjoy the cringe.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I think next year we need to take like an acting fight class.
Maybe we will have to. This guy's already working on next year. It's fucking year out.
Yes. Yeah,
I do enjoy, man. I was telling you though, I really do enjoy doing the skit stuff. It's so much fun in the moment. It's fun me editing it after I'm just laughing as I edit it.
Yeah, you get to see it for everybody.
Yeah, and we get drunk and watch it together and we laugh again. It's just a barrel of laughs. And then years in the future, you go back and just keep watching them over and over again.
The amazing thing is this started with a Cheech and Chong skit.
Yes.
And now we have a 20 minute movie. I was saying next year we should just do an episode of The Office, the entire episode. It's only like 22 minutes.
Yeah, maybe we should. Yeah, we actually cracked 100 views on YouTube, which is big numbers for us on YouTube, where we're shadow banned. So yeah, man. So of course, look at this. We got a button here that I just found. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Rumble, Apple Podcasts. We just switched over to Spotify hosting the podcast because it's free and it's got a little bit better user interface and stuff like that. But okay, without further ado, tonight we are going to talk about the New York City mayoral race. We did talk about this a couple of weeks ago. We did like kind of an in-depth episode on Zohran Mamdani, and and I talked about why he sucks because he's a communist and all that stuff. So I thought Captain and I could talk a little bit more about that tonight. I am keeping an eye on results. I think the polls close in 56 minutes here or so. So the polls close at 9 p.m. There's no actual data that's come out yet in terms of like who's in the lead. It's not like on election, which is funny, right? Like on presidential election night, you kind of like know what's coming somewhat. Here we don't really have any idea as of yet. Obviously, between Zohran Mamdani, Andrew Cuomo, Curtis Sliwa, the Republican. So we can kind of talk a little bit about that tonight.
I was hoping the results would be.
Yeah,
we have something.
Yeah, it's I did too, but I did see that it's 9 o'clock, and it's a local election a little bit differently. I went and voted today, my local election, hoping to keep my town rural and again, libertarian here, but hopefully we keep the Republicans in charge who don't want to spend too much money and build a whole bunch of shit. A lot of us moved up here to get away from the Bronx, not to turn this place into the Bronx. So we'll see about that. Anyway, so we'll also talk a little bit later about Tucker Carlson stepped in shit again, and not maybe he stepped in shit's not the best way to put it. He's definitely causing these shit flinging fests on purpose.
Yeah, he is, because at the end of the day, Tucker Carlson is such a character in this world that we're stuck in. He could literally have like Barney and Mr. Rogers on. You know what I mean? And like they could just sing like Kumbaya, I love you, you love me. And they're still gonna figure out a way like the next day to be like outrageous.
Hitler.
Anybody who goes on Tucker's show is immediately, headline news. It's ridiculous. He's just such a polarizing character for the media because he is providing us with a different perspective that, God forbid, we ever thought about having.
Yeah, and it's interesting when like the people who cover the news become the news cycle, right? Like instead of the things happening becoming the news cycle. But I do think that's always interesting in of itself. And it's like, why do these giant outrage fests occur? And to be honest with you, it's just because like these are influential people. It's not me and you with our 100 people watching the show that are like causing a ruckus on the social media. It's guys who move the needle, people who are like thought leaders and influencers. And Tucker Carlson is they could say whatever they fucking want. They could disparage him. They could talk shit about him. Tucker Carlson has the largest podcast news show on the conservative right wing of America.
Okay. Is it bigger than Joe Rogan Experience now?
No, I don't know if it's bigger than Joe. I don't think it's bigger than Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan's not a conservative.
Right. It's a different, it's a
Tucker Carlson
genre.
is a conservative right wing show about the news and politics. Joe Rogan is not that. Joe Rogan is getting stoned and talking about politics and aliens and elk and things like that. So Tucker's the biggest one. So he, I did find it interesting because I remember I don't know if you remember like during the COVID years, which we will talk about it again here tonight because of Cuomo. But I remember during the COVID years, a lot of us pointed out that as big as podcasts had become, the mainstream or the corporate press was still kind of setting the news cycle all the time. They were the ones like saying something and setting the tone about whatever it was everybody was going to talk about. Those days are over.
Yeah.
No, they are irrelevant, ignored, and now it's Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Dave Smith, etc.
I was actually just having this conversation about this with my father because he's obviously he's a fucking boomer. He is. And he brought up to me, he goes, what the hell did Tucker Carlson do? Because my father has no idea how to get to a podcast, listen to a podcast. I don't even think he'd have the attention span to sit through one. Maybe like if
boomer
we put, like,
through
YouTube,
and through.
Yeah, maybe if we put like the YouTube on like his TV and he could sit there and watch it, he would listen to it and watch it. But he's like, why are they trying to cancel him? I can't believe Fox is talking bad about him. And I wasn't even too sure because I didn't even hear this Nick Fuentes episode that was so controversial. And I was like, you got to understand, like, things have changed. Like, ever since the 2024 election, when Trump went and did podcasts, that you said it earlier, moved the needle. It's a different playing field. And you know what? The deep state, the left, whoever you want to call it, the corporate, the legacy media, industrial complex, whatever. We sat through several elections with them in recent years since we started doing this, and we watched as moderators openly had bias in presidential debates. We've watched in the local elections that we're going to talk about momentarily how the main concern of all New York politicians needs to be Israel, not New York. Legacy media has dug itself too deep of a hole. And when Trump did his podcast tour, it changed the game forever. We are now a viable source of information. And this is a better way to get the word out. Media has fucked itself over. And here we are. Now that this is why you're sitting here listening to us for the past 5 years, or however long it's been.
Yeah. High praise from the captain to call us a source of information. But no, your point is very valid. I've heard Dave Smith talk about this before, where he said, like, look, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be shitty podcast hosts that are just hacks. Yeah, right. Of course, there are going to be.
Well, that's
right?
what you and Garrett were talking about all week, about finding out these people who were getting paid, $1,000, $7,000 a tweet.
You know that the regime, will try and co-opt the space. Of course, they will. But Dave Smith has made the point about, like, yeah, but I don't know, like, it's still better that Kamala Harris has to go and try and do a 3-hour-long interview and show people what it's like to talk to her for 3 hours. Because in 3 hours, it's harder to hide how retarded you are, right? It just is. You could maybe get away with like an edited 60 Minutes episode where they edit the shit out of everything you say. You could get away with being a complete moron and something like that if you just nail your talking points. But like, go on Rogan or Tucker Carlson for 3 hours and talk about like really smart, in-depth stuff. Very hard to hide. In that time,
I've been getting away with it for 311 episodes now.
There you go. Yeah, there's something going on back there, Captain. All right, so I don't know. Do you want to talk more about this, or do you want to talk a little bit about?
Let's go right down the order of the list you got.
Yeah. All right. So let's start off with the race. I will keep an eye on
Mamdani is my boy.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but the captain's a big Mamdani supporter here.
Yes, I am.
But I just thought that the whole. Like, this is one of those examples of how just stupid politics makes people. Yeah, obviously, you have.
That's why I love this.
Yeah, I guess. All right. You have Mamdani, communist, leftist, Cuomo, the tyrant of COVID, who was atrocious. Me and the captain popped champagne and he got kicked out of office. And then you have Curtis Sliwa, who I don't like him. I don't like everything about him, but I actually do view him as like a pretty good man.
Yeah.
Over the course of his life. Who has
he's done good things.
Done good for New York City as like a kind of like a community organizer, neighborhood watch leader type person. So you actually have like a good person for once running in the race. And the story I kind of want to focus on, because we talked shit about Mamdani previously. If you want to hear my criticisms about his communist policy, go watch that episode. But is how the Republicans kind of rallied around Cuomo in this race, which is just upside down, left is right, sort of world. I have the tweet by Trump, but
if I'm gonna pick between a communist and a bad Democrat,
let's just start there. But Trump, he Truth Social the other day. If communist candidate Zohran Mamdani wins the election for mayor of New York City, it's highly unlikely that I will be contributing federal funds other than the very minimum as required to my beloved first home, because of the fact that as a communist, this once great city has zero chance of success or even survival. It can only get worse with a communist at the helm, and it won't. And I don't want to send as president good money after bad. Fair enough. It is my obligation to run the nation, and it's my strong conviction that New York City will be a complete and total economic and social disaster should Mamdani win. His principles have been tested for over 1,000 years. Okay, well, communism has not existed for over 1,000 years, but the point taken, it's failed over and over again. And never once have they been successful, correct? I would much rather see a Democrat who has a record of success win than a communist with no experience and a record of complete and total failure. He was nothing as an assemblyman, ranked at the bottom of the class, and as mayor of potentially, again, the greatest city in the world, he has no chance to bring it back to its former glory. We must also remember this: a vote for Curtis Sliwa, in parentheses, who looks much better without the beret, is a vote for Mamdani. Whether you personally like Andrew Cuomo or not, you really have no choice. You must vote for him and hope he does a fantastic job. He is capable of it. Mamdani is not. Now, I
see Sliwa was fucking retarded because he opened. I don't want an endorsement by Trump. Oh, okay. So you don't want to win. Cool.
Well, yeah, there might have been some political gamesmanship there, of course. Like if Trump leans in too heavily to Sliwa and vice versa, then Sliwa won't be able to court any of the people in New York City who hate Trump. So I think there was like a strategic campaign decision on his part, just not to talk shit about Trump, but to just
fair enough. It would make people
ignore him,
other people hate him more.
Right.
Yeah.
He's aware of his audience that he's speaking to.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. What is your thoughts, Captain? I have a lot on this.
It's in my opinion, my biggest question is like, why even as Trump, like, why even get involved? You know what I mean? Like, don't endorse anybody. Fuck it. Right. I guess you're fighting to keep communism out of the state, but New York City is not full of smart people. It's a place. I love the fact that I was born and raised in New York, but I also love the fact that I got the fuck out of there. And these people need to suffer. You get what you fucking deserve. Somebody said on Instagram today, it's good that a communist might get back into office because we need to like rekindle that flame to show everybody like why communism is bad. It's been too long since there was any communism around.
That's a point I've seen people make, and I think we've talked about previously, but I'm not so sure. I don't know.
Right.
Like, it's the fact that it has been tried. The grandest experiment of all time was tried in the Soviet Union, failed, and people are still trying to run back this experiment.
Yeah, but you got
every time I'm just saying that every time they go, well, that wasn't real communism last time. This is going to be real communism this time. It's going to work.
And me and you know it's not, and we don't have to suffer the so let these people suffer the consequences. All right, that's my point of view. So remember the conversation we had with Professor Giordano, for those who don't know who Professor G is. We need to have him on. If Mamdani wins, they say we try and get him on. But he said, we were talking about universal health care. And he said something that was great. He said, look, you want to have universal health care? Let's roll it out slowly. California wants universal health care. Let's just give just California the free health care. And we'll do it for a year. See how it works out for everybody. See how happy everybody is with a non-privatized healthcare system. And if it works out and everybody loves it, we'll start rolling it out across the nation. But if it's a disaster, we only lose California. So for all the left-leaning socialists that are out there, okay, well, now we're going to play the same experiment, but instead of universal health care, we're going to have socialism in New York. We're going to have communism in New York. If it doesn't work out, New York suffers. If it works out, then sure, you have your argument for how real, quote unquote, communism will work.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the argument. That's what we're gonna get, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna run this experiment. I think if I was a betting man, I'd bet that's probably what's gonna happen.
Should we put the money on what's that website, Kalesh
or Polymarket or
Kalshi?
Kalshi?
Yeah.
Maybe we should. Although, maybe that would make him lose though if we bet on him, right?
Honestly,
so some reverse fucking psychology from the two
I think
men.
we just figured out how to save this nation.
We have
Me and you start putting money down.
We have 42 minutes or something like that. We're gonna have to crunch it in while we're on the air. So I do think that you're gonna get your example here. My concern with that logic and line of thinking is that
it never leaves.
It never stops either. I'm aware now of how the progressivism in the United States works, and it's a never-ending tide that continues rising forever. And not in a good way, a rising tide. It's one of those rising tides that doesn't lift any boats; it makes sure everyone drown. Right, like progressivism in the United States never gets rolled back. So I'm cautious of antagonizing it even more into existence to try and use as an example, because it doesn't seem that people learn their fucking lesson here. So that's kind of my that's my perspective on it.
That's my one general concern about what's about to happen. I don't know if it's a true story. I didn't have time to look into it, but apparently Florida is going to put, it's not a tariff, but like 100% tariff on New Yorkers coming fleeing New York to come to Florida. Because keep your bullshit in New York. Don't vote for this shit and then hate it and then go screw up another state. And I know I could see it here. There's no houses for sale in Stanford right now. Everything's through the roof. And yeah, the market's bad and there's a lot of money here in Connecticut. But guess what? Everybody who doesn't want to quit their job but doesn't want to live in NYC is going to flee, and you can't afford Westchester, and then you're going to come to my neck of the woods. And now I got to deal with you. You know what I'm saying? Like
maybe not. Maybe it'll be the remaining few good people in the city, and it'll make Connecticut better. Like if you could, like the Libertarian Project in New Hampshire, if you could concentrate some more like-minded people together, perhaps you have a bit. Maybe Connecticut will start tilting a little bit more red. Who knows?
One thing I've learned about Connecticut's a historic blue state.
It is, but it's also just like New York. Northern part of Connecticut is red.
There's so much money in Connecticut. People don't need to live in reality. So they don't need to worry about a Republican making things cheaper for them and being conservative with their money, because people literally shit money and throw it down the sewer.
That is true.
Here.
That's Connecticut for you, especially that old money, that Greenwich corridor. Going back to Trump's quote here, because he does really kind of, now we'll give Trump credit. He didn't, his criticisms of Mamdani were not the retarded Zionist ones, that he's a jihadist. He's not, he's a communist. And that's what Trump did focus on. So I will give him credit for that. He stayed on message and didn't get dumb, regarding like what Mamdani is, which I appreciate that. But the idea, first of all, the idea that like we're going to compliment Andrew Cuomo, the tyrant of COVID, right? And we're going to say that, it's funny too, because I actually remember we did this episode back when the height of COVID at Pete's Saloon. We had Abart on and we interviewed him about everything that Cuomo was doing to the business. So actually, right before we started recording, I messaged him. I'm like, hey, let me get your take real quick on, Cuomo possibly could you ever kind of like see yourself supporting Cuomo against Mamdani? And Abart, swallowed his pride and said, yeah, I honestly would support Cuomo
over Mamdani. It's the lesser of two evils at this point.
So fair enough. I understand a lot of people are feeling that way. However, I just totally disagree. I think the precedent you are setting by putting back in charge a person who was a maniacal tyrant when the opportunity presented himself. I know people are saying like, I'd rather deal with the crazy person I know than the one I don't know. I don't know, man. The guy was pretty fucking bad during COVID, like to the extreme.
And he was also killed. He didn't even let's also reconvene the fact that he didn't get removed or leave office because he was bad on COVID. He sexually assaulted so many women that he had to leave office. And now he's coming back. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. So one thing, not to criticize you personally, but I'm gonna. We've gone through so many elections together now doing this. One thing I've noticed with you is you always just hate the players on the board game. You know what I mean? You just wish there was new players, and so do I.
Well, not necessarily in this case. I genuinely like Curtis Sliwa. So that's not.
But true. I mean, we're talking about a Republican in New York City. So, in my eyes, the best bet would have been putting all our chips behind Eric Adams. At least this guy took it on the chin, standing up to his own party, and they fucked him good for it.
Fair enough. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like that would have been my Democrat to choose in this race if I had to choose a Democrat. But the fact of the matter is, we literally have a jihadist communist. We have one of the worst individuals New York has ever produced. And then we got the leader of the Guardian Angels who doesn't have a fucking chance in hell. So what are we going to do? I mean, I know who me and you would have voted for, but these are the players we got.
Yeah, and again, there's been an organized effort from Republicans, some MAGA, some not, some have agreed, and that they should just support Curtis Sliwa. But there's been an organized effort to try and support Cuomo, which is again like, can I real quick? Good point. Here's what Cuomo is saying about Trump and why you should vote for him for mayor. So let's keep in mind, Trump endorsed Cuomo, and here's what Cuomo is saying.
We heard Donald Trump yesterday. He said if Mamdani wins, he's going to cut off funding to New York. He calls him a communist. He'll send the National Guard. We need a mayor who can stand up to Donald Trump, who can get the funding that New York deserves, who can make sure the National Guard does not come to New York, because we don't need the National Guard, and I can stand up to Trump. Trump will go through Mamdani like a hot knife through butter.
First of all, who watches that and thinks that this is like, like, whoa, he sounds so authentic in the way he speaks to the crowd. But again, like, Trump just endorsed him, and there he is saying, I'm going to stand in the way of every objective Trump wants to accomplish when it comes to New York City.
Also
Good
talk
job,
about
President, Mr. President?
Can we also talk about the sheer fact that he completely missed the point? He completely missed the point of being endorsed by Donald Trump. Trump doesn't want a communist. So if you are a communist, you're going to get less funding. If you are soft on crime and release criminals, we are going to send the National Guard. Here's an easy thing to do to get the funding from Washington and to not have the National Guard knocking at your door. I don't know. Maybe don't be a communist, don't destroy the economy, and don't let the criminals run the entire city. Yeah, it's going to be real easy for Cuomo to stand up to Trump because he's not going to do anything Mamdani does. He completely missed the point of the entire endorsement. And you know what? I'm glad I saw that, because I'm now remembering how absolutely retarded Cuomo is.
Yeah, and again, I just kind of criticize me all you want. I just kind of reject your premise outright that he's going to just do better by existing.
Oh,
that's kind of
not. Yeah, I don't think he's going to do better. I don't.
That's kind of what we're being
that.
sold, right? That don't vote for Curtis Sliwa, vote for Andrew Cuomo, because just by nature of him existing and him not being a communist, he's going to do better. Again, you had the entire track record of COVID. With that was insane crime. Now, he wasn't the mayor of New York City, but it was a governor. He was even higher. Yeah. He was a governor of the state, so even more of a sample size. So again, I kind of reject the premise of that outright, which is being sold. On top of that, man, just from like a pure democracy point of view, he ran in the Democratic Party. He lost to Mamdani. Curtis Sliwa ran in the Republican primary, and he won. If anyone should be dropping out, it should be Andrew Cuomo. Why does he get to run again? Kind of like go around the fact that there already was. Again, I'm not the biggest believer in democracy. You know what I'm saying, though? Like I know, but you know what I'm saying? Like the logic there doesn't follow for me. You have your. The call should be for him to. Again, they're gonna and when Mamdani wins, this is gonna get pinned on Curtis Sliwa. It's your fault. It's your fault that that Mamdani won. Meanwhile, no, it's actually Andrew Cuomo's fault. Yeah. If you want to play that game, right? Because he inserted himself back into an election that he was already rejected on, at least in the first phase of it, right? So that's my view of it, at least.
Yeah. This is why out of all the candidates we could pick from, I choose Mamdani. Burn it to the ground. Play Seth Rollins music. Burn it down.
Dude, by the way, I laughed. We saw everybody. I don't know if you're watching wrestling, but CM Punk got the title back. Yes. And he did his little speech yesterday at Raw, and he was like, hang on a second, let me just do this for somebody who's at home watching right now. And he swung the title around the way that Seth Rollins did. I had a good laugh at that. That was pretty funny. Okay, so again, Cuomo here. Let's stick with Cuomo for one more moment. I sent you this right before we started. I saw it right before we started, but like the nursing home thing, right? Yep. We criticized him for it at the time. I had a family member who died in a nursing home, right? And they weren't in New York, but they were in New Jersey. And Cuomo, again, at the time, was setting the standard for like what
the tri-state area,
right? And Murphy and the other states in the region followed his exact precedent. So he finally apologizes today, of all days. Finally apologizes.
Hear what he had. Worst. Nobody knew what we were dealing with. I had the best health experts from around the globe giving us advice. We followed the best advice. We followed the federal guidance. And people died in a horrific way. There were no visitors allowed into nursing homes. And I apologize for any family that lost a loved one during that time. It was on my watch. And I understand how terrible it was.
Yeah, we really were first and worst. I remember calling my family down in South Carolina saying, Mom and Dad, do not go to that party. You don't understand what's happening here. Y'all need to stay away from your friends right now and stay at home. People are losing their loved ones. My doorman, many of them lost.
This is Fox News, by the way, just reciting Democrat COVID logic all over again.
Like their dad, their mom.
Pathetic.
It was really sad. Janice Dean lost both of her in-laws because of the nursing home situation. It was a really hard time for New York, and we were the first. What do you say to the people who can't afford to pay their bills here in New York, Governor? Because we know how Mamdani feels about the billionaire.
Okay, all right, that's the end of him talking about the COVID. Yeah, that's the end of him apologizing for the first time I've seen.
Ditch effort. You know, a lot of that I'm taking away from all this is just so many people should have just kept their mouth shut. Trump should have kept his mouth shut and never endorsed anybody. Cuomo, it only made himself look worse going out there and apologizing at the final hour. For give me a fucking break. You know, the funny thing is the only people that still would buy the COVID bullshit of him apologizing and genuinely believe that, oh, I had the best experts in the world at the time, and this is what they told me to do, and it was wrong, and I'm sorry. The only people that would buy that story are the people voting for Mamdani.
Are they? Would they? I don't know. I don't like Cuomo. There is kind of apologizing. Well, he's again. First of all, I view it as the guy is a fucking sociopath. He chooses the day of the election that he is running in.
He should have
finally
been on
apologize.
the campaign tour the whole time.
He chooses the day that he needs the Republican vote to finally apologize for the COVID thing. Do you think he actually means that? Why did he wait till the day of? So the guy literally was at the helm of the policy that got a ton of old people that we all love killed, right? And he chooses the day that he is trying to get back into power again to use that to apologize, hoping that then people who were pissed off at him about that will then go and vote for him. That is fucking sociopathic and disgusting. Someone like that does not deserve to hold and wield power ever again. So, given the possible whatever it is Mamdani is going to do, but he hasn't actually done yet, compared to that sociopathic shit, I agree. Sign me up for Mamdani if that was the theoretical choice I had to have. Now it's not. I would have. Again, I don't have to pick any of these because I bounced. I'm not an idiot, just like you. We got the fuck out of New York City. But if I could, I'd have voted for Sliwa.
It's really all he did by apologizing was, when like me, you, and Garrett are about to do a podcast and we're all texting each other. And we're getting ready to rant and rave over text message. And we got, whoa, save your bullets, save your bullets.
Yeah.
That's all he did. He saved his biggest bullet for today. It was planned. It was orchestrated by a PR team. Hey, there's some people out there that still remember you did this. Today's the day you should apologize. That should have been part of his entire campaign.
Right. Well, I was going to say not a very good PR team, right? Because if you wanted to make people believe, you should have maybe led with the, hey, I made a ton of mistakes during COVID. I learned my lesson the entire campaign season, and you should have led with that. Instead, he's cashing in here at the last second. And again, there's something to what you're saying.
Ungenuine, disingenuous.
Correct. Right. And I'm gonna be honest with you, all the people that are the conservatives that are supporting Cuomo in this, you're not coming out of this looking good either. I know you're going to say that Sliwa was coming out of this looking good, but as the captain said before, I'm probably the harshest critic out of anybody on the show of all these people. I hate almost everyone on the board at all times. This isn't going to win me over. I'm telling you right now.
No,
right?
That wouldn't have changed my vote.
I'm just saying these bad faiths, let's support Cuomo over Mamdani things. I even have a lesser opinion now of Trump's machine, whatever. Maybe not Trump so much. He was a little bit better than most on this, but like the conservative sphere of influencers, some of them who were pushing the Cuomo thing, like, boy, I now view you even less than I did before. And that was pretty hard to do at this point because I didn't have a very high opinion of most of you to begin with. And you found a way, like with time, when
you're honestly, at rock bottom, you'll find a shovel.
Yes, exactly. And I don't know. I do feel like with time, telling the truth and being honest like that eventually actually does build you up credibility and people listen to you and whatnot. Like, but if you're doing that in the opposite direction,
Yeah.
Like, what do you think is going to happen? Again, we'll go back to Tucker Carlson, which we'll pivot on to next. It's like, why do you think that every time he gets canceled or cancellation campaign occurs, he gets bigger after each time? It's because he's telling the truth, right? Or he's just being genuine. Maybe he's wrong, right? But he's telling the truth and be genuine. He could be wrong about it.
Well, he's not wrong. He's just wrong to the people that he
I'm just saying he could be wrong about something, but because he's being genuine and telling the truth about whatever it is, he's building up credibility and steam over time. People could smell bullshit.
Yep.
Right. And that's why he's the biggest show.
And it's all we've been trained to do over the past several years.
Think about
Anybody who's had their eyes open over the past several years, and even people who are waking up this year, people who woke up with the Charlie Kirk assassination, people who woke up before the 2024, you woke up because you smelled the bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why that's the real problem that New York City finds itself in right now, is that, like, shit, I know this is all bullshit. I know this guy's a disaster. I don't know how big a disaster this other guy's going to be. Should we just go with the old, you know what I mean? Like as you said in the text message, like, bizarro world, like, what the hell do we do here? Like, we know we're marching. Basically, you have a choice of either marching into an oven or marching into a wood chipper. You know what I mean? Like, which one's gonna hurt less?
And one guy actually wood chipped people before.
Yes.
The other guy hasn't.
The other guy
yet,
showed
right?
everybody the wood chipper before. Yeah.
Right. No, he didn't show it to them. He actually threw them into it before. And we're like, wood chipper guy again. Wood chip. I'd rather take my chance with the guy who actually didn't do it yet. So again, that's my view. Do you want to shift over now?
My last question, to bring the greatest religion and the greatest people into the world into this conversation.
Oh boy,
who are the Jews voting for in New York? There's millions of them.
Which
really,
really,
how?
I believe
this makes
so.
it even more of a bizarro world.
Because demographically in New York City area, they're primarily Democrat, and that is.
And they'd rather him over Cuomo.
I guess again, we'll see. We could analyze demographics of the votes after. My guess is that they are going to overwhelmingly support Mamdani, but I actually think that that's a counterpoint to the whole like the Jews thing all the time, right? It's like, well, no, because like the Zionist thing in Israel is like a super far right nationalist thing, right? So it's not all the Jews as some people on Twitter who we're not even sure if they're real or not would make it out to be.
Right.
They're individuals, which we'll get into this later in the next segment. They're individuals and they don't all agree on the same thing. I don't believe the whole there's an overarching conspiracy that each and every one of them are in controlling everything. I don't actually believe that. I don't hate all Jewish people, as we've said on the show a million times, or think that's true. I do take the Tucker Carlson side. It's like, no, everybody's individuals. And I think that that's actually a good example of how it kind of like disproves that that thought. Because again, the Likud Netanyahu Zionist thing is more of a far right nationalist identitarian thing in Israel. But okay, let's move on to Tucker.
Yeah.
So after we just complimented the Jews, now let's criticize them in the next thing.
Well, you know what? We saved our YouTube page by doing that.
There we go. So Tucker Carlson had on Nick Fuentes. Now, this is the most I've ever heard, like actually myself, I've ever listened to Nick Fuentes, besides like little tiny things that are clipped of him and put on the internet, because he was on Dave Smith's show about 3 weeks ago. Then he was right on Tucker's show right after that. So it's like 6 hours of long form. I consumed the whole thing of Nick Fuentes for the first time. And it was interesting, right? Like, I don't think he's the person he's made out to be after watching all that in the clips, but he's not exactly the person that I agree with on everything, more so than I would agree with, let's say, Dave or Tucker. But I do think that's just a point in and of itself. It's like we get into this world in the sphere of podcasting and space, and like we were just talking about, it takes 3 hours to listen to someone on a show like that, and then you have to listen to them like almost every day to really get to know a person and like what it is they think or what their positions are and everything. It's very easy for anything to get clipped out of context and posted on the internet, and then you to be made out as a Nazi or whatever, right? And it's like, is that what it really is? So I would just caution everyone in general, even when it comes to like leftists and people calling Mamdani a communist. Like, I don't know, have you really listened to 200 hours of the person talking and like really fleshing out whatever it is they think. I'm sure our show could get clipped and people would be like, these guys are racist Nazi bigots, whatever, something like that. Of course, right? Just because we're critical of the war in Gaza. So I think that's a point worth being said. Now, because he had on Nick Fuentes, boy, I mean, like the neocon Zionist right-wing guys are in overdrive, and they had this this Republican Jewish coalition meeting in Las Vegas this past weekend. And I have to be honest with you, the clips that came out of it were fucking insane. They are way worse, in my opinion, than most of the stuff I've ever seen Nick Fuentes say, or anything I've ever seen Tucker Carlson say. Let me think. Who should we start off with here? If you want to see what Congressman Randy Fine said, I'm not going to play that one. I did post that to our pages where he said that Tucker Carlson's heading up the new Hitler Youth program, which is just got to be completely insane, right? So
I wonder how much he got paid to say that.
So it's like I was telling him before again, Cap, like, here we go again. Like, we have to, everyone's a Nazi, right? Like the trillionth time.
I was laughing earlier
to parry
today.
this.
I was laughing earlier today. I'll be completely upfront. I didn't get a chance to listen to the Nick Fuentes episode for all the listeners. But like when Skaggs started explaining to me what happened, I was like, oh, I don't need to do any research.
You know the drill.
I get the whole idea of why Tucker's being canceled. So go ahead.
Tucker's a racist and a Nazi. Again, this time just from the right wing. So, okay, let's start off with, again, I am very critical on the show of Mr. Mark Levin. And I always say, I don't mean to necessarily pick on him. However, I'll never forget that time when they bombed Iran, and I just happened to be watching because my dad was watching it, Levin's show, and he was reading off the list of 100 million reasons why it's a good thing and bad things Iran did to the United States and why you should support war against Iran. I'll never fucking forget that. That was crazy as someone who doesn't watch network television. But then again, this is the guy who has like the pole position show now on Fox News. So, I don't think many people watch it besides the boomers that we referenced before. But he's, the guy at Fox News now in light of Tucker being fired and canceled. So he holds some sway. So here's what he had to say at this convention over the weekend.
Hitler admirers, Stalin admirers, Jew haters, American haters, Churchill haters. You're damn right we're going to cancel them and deplatform them. It's called the market system. They don't have a lifetime job like a bureaucrat who we're going to protect. And if they're your friend, there's something wrong with you. No Hitler admirer, Holocaust denier, platformer should be anybody's friend, as a matter of fact. You don't get to wrap your psychotic, mental, unhinged, Nazi, Klan, jihadist bullshit around American patriotism. You don't get to claim you're MAGA and America first when you're lining up with the Marxists and the Islamists and Hamas and the terrorists. That's not America first. That's sick.
Okay.
Could only be America first if you're Israel first.
Israel first. So sincerely, Mark Levin, from all of us in the podcasting realm, fuck you. You are not canceling anyone. The free marketplace you referenced, right? Yes, the free market is going to bore out in this regard, and it has been in the podcast sphere. People who tell the truth and are being honest, and the most popular arguments rising to the top. Now, this is the standard bullshit, right? We've seen this, like I just said before, for fucking years. Anyone who the left was doing this for years, right? Like if you were a conservative and you just wanted a strong border and immigration control, what did they call you? A Nazi, a racist, a bigot. This is the same thing now, just coming from the Zionist crowd of the conservative party in America, right? So my thing to Mark Levin's like, do you really want to go down that same road that the woke
Did you not learn anything? Did it work?
Calling everyone a Nazi, setting to task, trying to cancel them and kick them out of polite society. Good luck.
Yeah.
How did that work out for the woke left, right? It was a disaster. It was a failure. It was repudiated by a large portion of the American society in the last election, right? Over 50%. The election was kind of, at least in my opinion, a referendum on like that most insane woke shit Like, people just didn't want kids being mutilated. They wanted to stop the invasion at the border and build the wall. They didn't want men and women's sports. And these people were calling you a fucking racist, a Nazi, a bigot for those things. That's what you want to hang your hat on, Mark Levin, right?
Yeah.
The fact that you're calling all these same people now racists, Nazis, anti-Semitic bigots, because we disagree with the foreign policy of the United States supporting Israel. That is what he is doing. Good luck with that. I do not think that is going to turn out the way that Mark Levin wants. And to be honest with you,
it's not.
It's a good thing.
Look at the people
it out finally on this issue.
Look at the people who he's going after, right? Us, I know he's not coming after us, but us as podcasters, Tucker Carlson, who's at the top of this mountain, where we're the little pebbles at the bottom of the mountain.
Right.
Tucker
He mentioned people who are critical of Chamberlain, right?
Yeah.
No, Churchill. I'm sorry, right? Like, because you're talking about Daryl Cooper.
Oh yeah, when we had that,
he hit all the notes, right? He hit all the things that we've talked about in the past. Levin did there,
and you're going up against a group of people who A, don't give a shit, B, will tell you to your face, bring it on, and C, who have persevered persecution for years now. You think Mark Levin could sit there and this is psychotic and you're a maniac and meh, 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 meh. You think Tucker Carlson gives a shit for 1 millisecond, 1 nanomillisecond? He doesn't. He's going to keep on keeping on. His show's going to get bigger and bigger. And the more the Zionists like him and people like that keep screaming, this is the Nazi youth. The Democrats ruined the term Nazis and racist and bigot because everybody's a Nazi. Everybody's a racist. You have the entire what's the generation after the millennials that's really based? Is it Alpha or is it Z? I think
after
Gen
the millennials, maybe Z.
I think Gen Z is like a real based generation.
I know
or
what
whatever.
you mean,
like,
regardless. Yeah.
So whatever that generation is, here you go now. There's some new face on, not new face, but there's some face on Fox that's clearly, a Zionist talking about, oh, you're a bigot. So now you guys had all the people on the left calling this group of people bigots, and we fought against it. Now you got this other party calling us big. We're still in the fight, and we're ready to fight, and it ain't going to work out in your favor.
Yeah, and again,
and it's also not genuine because let's be honest, you're being paid to have this opinion.
Maybe
you might agree with it, but
maybe that's a good point. Maybe worth exploring. I don't know. I feel like when it comes to Levin, maybe you talked about him kind of calling everybody else paranoid schizophrenics. Like, he comes off as a paranoid schizophrenic to me. I replied to a tweet to this at this point. Like, I think he actually truly believes the shit that around every corner of America at this point is an anti-Semite, like ready to put on a Nazi armband and start the Fourth Reich or something like that. Now, again, that doesn't mean that there is no racism in America. Of course, there are some people, but like, I have not experienced that in the real world.
And neither is he.
Around, right? Like, what I have
95% of the population,
on Twitter. Are we sure all that's real or not? I do think Twitter can set the narrative.
But you know what? Let's just so not to interrupt you, but this idea just popped into my head. There's bot farms, right? And there was all these bots.
Superman, which was pretty good, by the way. And the Superman movie had bot farms and stuff to draw
talking shit about Superman, right?
To draw up negative publicity against Superman.
Don't you think the same people who make the bot farms to push the progressive woke nonsense also have bot farms to promote Nazism? So then the bots have somebody to point to, aka other bots, and be like, look, there's Nazis. They're not. And it's just more bots. It's just more bots, just to prove their point.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we could go back to demographic point we made before. A lot of Jews don't even agree with this, right? They just don't. They're not voting for the Levin type politicians, right? In the New York City, Levin and Mamdani are polar opposites in that regard, So it's not true. It's paranoid schizophrenia. I think Levin does believe it, but it's just not. It's not my opinion. What it is a lot of people have woken up to not liking the foreign policy around Israel. That's all it is. That's not all it is, but that's majority of what it is. People want to put America first. It's fucking popular. They don't want money being sent overseas. They didn't like the videos they saw coming out of Gaza of kids getting blown the fuck up or Catholic churches getting bombed, XYZ, whatever it is. Doesn't mean that they hate Jews. And this paranoid schizophrenia shit is not healthy for Mark Levin or anybody else who really believes that. Like they must. I do kind of feel bad for him, to be honest with you at this point.
I don't.
Maybe not Levin, but other Jewish people who do have that kind of like are feeling that way. I do feel sorry for them because I understand a little bit culturally how they are kind of like raised to fear those things, happening again, right? It's part of like their, like what is when they do the Seder meal and all that stuff, and they tell all those stories all over again. So it's a little bit of traumatic, but okay, not to get too much on the cultural topic there. But going back to this thing, I got another video for you here. One of our favorite politicians in the world, Lindsey Graham. He spoke at this. He spoke at this. Let's hear what he had to
Jesus,
say.
Murphy, this fucking guy.
He recognized Jerusalem as capital of Israel. Why? Because if you got a problem with that, take it up with God. Because they pay my bills. The guy did it, not Trump. So I just want to say, I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes.
With glee. We're killing all the right people with glee. He chuckles.
He's the type of politician that couldn't be a politician without war. Like,
oh yeah, he's,
you know what I mean? Like, he's in it for the death and destruction. Like me and you, we play like GTA and we play these violent video games, and yeah, we get a little medieval from time to time, but like he's excited to do it in real life. You know what
he
I
does.
mean?
He definitely goes home and this shit. You saw the glee on his face there when he said we're killing the right people. All the right people.
Right people. The people who aren't paying my bills.
Again, let's go back to what I just said before. Anyone who just watched the videos that came out of Gaza, where without a doubt, children were killed, innocent civilians were killed. And this guy goes up there and goes, we're killing the right people. Yeah. I mean, do you not, and he's going to go out there and say that the Palestinians are the savages, that the Muslims are the horde
let's see, the Palestinians
really,
are the savages.
I don't know. It doesn't really seem that way to me.
When they walk 12 kilometers overnight because they can't drive because their car would be blown up, and show up at a gate to get dried food but no water, and they have no running water, and for when that gate opens up, tanks and machine guns start shooting at them. And then they ransack all this fucking food. And then the second the food's gone, everybody starts getting maced and flashbanged and shot at again. Yeah, we're definitely killing the right people. Definitely
right. Again,
killing the right people.
I want everyone to just focus on that. That's what he said. We're killing the right people in the wake of all the criticism that has come from all angles about how Israel's conducted the war, our blank check, children being killed, civilians being killed. He says we're killing all the right people. Boy, I mean, if you wanted to stoke some anti-Semitism, it might be something you want to say, right? In the face of everything that just happened. I don't know. So I didn't play the whole thing, but he goes on then to criticize Tucker Carlson for hosting Nick Fuentes, of course. Right now, what's lacking in all this is, did anybody actually from this side display anything that Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes talked about? Because I didn't really see it. I tried to share it as much as I possibly could because there was a really interesting moment in their conversation
where Nick Fuentes ended up being a normal human being,
where Tucker kind of like just challenged him on the let's hate all the Jews thing, right? Which is the point that everyone's trying to make in reverse, that Tucker Carlson is leading up the Hitler Youth program. He's the next, Nazi, etc.
For simply asking. Yeah.
No. Just that's what they're making it out to be. But then let's go and actually listen to the conversation that occurred, or at least a clip of it again here. I watched the whole thing, and this is kind of the theme of the whole thing, but let's just listen to this.
What I do think is bad is the all Jews are guilty, or all anybody is guilty of anything, because that's just like not true. God created every person as an individual, not as a group. Like, we hate that kind of thinking, right? That's identity politics.
As a Catholic, I could not agree more with you. I love all people, even the ones that don't like us. We have to love them all, and we have to recognize that
we're required to.
Yes, but I guess my substantive disagreement is the idea that neoconservatism and Israel has nothing to do with Jewishness. Jewish identity, the Jewish religion, because clearly the state of Israel and the neocons
That's actually a really good point.
Motivated by that ethnic identity, and their allegiance to Israel proceeds from that.
Well, this is, just BLM. They're engaging in identity politics. But the problem in your response is it does not apply to every individual.
No, and I would never say that.
Okay. Well, I just think it's important to say that because just that principle that we're all judged as individuals by what we do, and God will judge every one of us in that way, and that's how we're supposed to judge.
The new Nazi party of 2025, folks.
The new Nazi party recognizing Judaism.
Yeah.
Not all people who practice Judaism are guilty. Yeah. They're the real Nazis. That, it's weird for me to say it's powerful, but that's something that is not talked about. And it kind of just dawned on me as well. There's the Jews and the Jewish people and Israel, but Judaism as a religion, you know what I mean? Is never brought up. It's just Israel and Jews, right? There's millions of people who practice the religion of Judaism. And of course not. And I've always believed, no, not everybody is guilty, but there is a certain sect of people that run a lot of shit throughout the world. But it's very interesting that they finally brought up the religion of Judaism instead of
the identity.
nationalism,
the
identity.
I think that is the point that Fuentes is trying. So again, the point I want to take there is that the criticism of Tucker is that he's supporting Nazism and he hates Jews, but that's literally the exact opposite of what Tucker Carlson was saying.
Because they support the people who practice this faith.
Right. What they're having is a big boy conversation, which we can all do about anything, right? And not just resort to, you hate me, I hate you, everybody hates, there's a racist around every corner.
We're
right?
a big hateful family.
Right. But again, obviously, so I'm defending Tucker Carlson here. He doesn't hate Jewish people, all Jewish people, or anything of the sort. And he explicitly said so in his fucking interview with Nick Fuentes. And he even got Nick Fuentes to say, well, of course not. I'm not talking about all the Jews. Nick Fuentes literally just said that in that clip you watch. Right. So that is a good thing. You think they'd want to be sharing this like you see, it's not. Even the person who's made out to be the craziest Nazi of all time is actually saying it's not. And again, it's not what I think. It's not what majority of people think, right? But I do think there is an interesting point in there, like you're saying, that and that is what Zionism is. It's an identity-based political movement that is nationalist, right? That is what it is. They say it all the time. Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish state. The thing that Zohran Mamdani got criticized for in that debate was he said, I believe that Israel should be a state with equal rights for all. And they criticized him for that. Imagine that. That was the criticism of him. He hates Jews.
Because they should have more rights than all.
You see what I'm saying? So, it's worth having a conversation about. Not every Jew, like we just talked about, believes in that project, the Zionist project, or thinks that way. Not even every Jewish person or Israeli in Israel thinks that way either, right? But that is what a certain part, the neoconservatives, the Likud party, that really ultra-right Zionist wing, it is tied to what they believe in. Their identity, it's a nationalistic identity, which is ironic because that's what they're saying Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes is. Now, maybe Nick Fuentes is more of a white nationalist sort of identity politics-based guy, even by his own admission. That's not what Tucker Carlson is whatsoever. Tucker Carlson's like, you're an American. What is an American? Yep. Freedom, liberty, people who live here, came here, adhere to our shared values of liberty, justice, etc.
What scares me the most about all of this is we just played this clip, and here they are protecting people who practice Judaism, and then you have somebody like Mark Levin who is going down the same failed path as a left-wing progressive, calling everybody a Nazi and a bigot and all this stuff. You are walking down a path you already knew you failed against people who aren't talking about the same thing you're talking about, who are actually in favor and against I guess they're in alignment with him. They wouldn't want a new Hitler youth group or anything like that. But it just shows that the legacy media only cares about talking points because they fear people who can move the needle.
Sure.
Right. And they don't want you focusing on Judaism and the religion that is practiced. They want to vote. They want you to focus on Israel, who is paying all their bills, because let's be honest, that's what's going on. You know, the one person you can't talk about is the person who's in charge. Well, guess what? We can't talk about a certain, nation right now, even though we are. They're the ones running.
I think
the
what
show.
you mean is they never talk about it being like an identity based nationalist movement is what you're saying, right? That's I understand the point, right? And it is, again, it's a big boy conversation. It's fair,
but it's just ridiculous to go down a failed path that is not going to work, and just because you're a Republican or you're on Fox and you're an Israel first supporter, you think this this old failed method is going to work out for you. It's insane.
It's not. And again, it's the grand irony of it. Even like Tucker Carlson said, like, it's just BLM. Like we're just doing identity politics for another group. The people that are doing it.
Yeah.
Now the people that are doing it,
it's just, I'm sorry, Jesus Christ.
Sorry, it's all right. I would say the people that are doing the identity politics thing are the same people who just shit all over identity politics during the BLM period. Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin. Identity politics bad, except when it comes to my group. And my group gets all the special protections and whatnot. And again, a very fair criticism, I think, is like that's not going to work in a multicultural, multiracial democracy. Like, if any group's like, well, our group gets special treatment, like you're gonna end up causing resentment amongst groups. And we don't think we don't think that's a good thing, right? We all have to. We're all a bunch of the melting pot in a sense. Like, we got to kind of try and get along here to some certain extent, right? So we can't be playing favorites with any group. I'm sure we'll be made out to be Jew haters for saying that. We can't we can't play favorites with any group or discriminate against any group in America, right? Because it's just not a good thing. But they would then in turn make us out to be like, you guys are racist because you're saying that we shouldn't be discriminating against any group. It's very ironic.
311 episodes later, and we are still fighting the political hypocrisy.
It's the same shit over and over again. Just it kind of the topic.
The story just changes.
Yeah. No. Going back to what you were saying before, Mark Levin, I know his tactic here is like, we're going to cancel everyone who's going to talk about, in sense, like, we're going to cancel everybody who's going to be critical of Israel, right? And this whole concept, right? But like, good luck. It's not going to work. And the more you say that, the more it's going to backfire you on.
And the harder when you single out somebody as famous as Tucker, it's only going to hurt you, because Tucker has when somebody has a bigger following than you and you attack them and you energize that person's following, only one thing is going to happen. Their following is going to grow.
Right.
Because because I'm part of that following. You pissed me off. Now, the next time somebody talks to me about it, I'm going to show you this clip and that clip, and then I might wake you up, and then you wake somebody else up.
Snowballs.
And now it just grew by 3. You lost 2, I gained 2.
And again, given all that, I just don't think that argument is going to work. People are going to see that you are being disingenuous, Mark Levin, or that you're just being paranoid schizophrenic. And they're going to look at the arguments people like Tucker Carlson, Dave Smith, or people listen to this show are making. It's like, hey, we just want America to put America first. It's our government.
Trump doesn't
about our own people, right? And not prioritize a foreign nation or a specific group of people over everyone. That's all we want. And most people are going to be like, it really doesn't sound racist or anti-Semitic. These Levin, Shapiro guys, like, maybe we shouldn't listen to anything they have to say anymore, And it's so whatever it is they're trying to sell you, I don't think it's going to be bought.
Until the mainstream people figure out how to be genuine, or until the mainstream changes its platform to a more genuine platform.
I don't think that's happening, buddy.
Well, that's why podcasts are winning, and that's why it's insane for somebody like Levin to think he's going to be able to cancel all podcasters.
Yeah, it's also, isn't it, again,
if one of us goes down, it's what is it called, the Leviathan or whatever?
Yeah,
you cut off one head, 2 will grow.
Isn't it just kind of also ironic? Look, that while he's saying, no, these Nazis, these racists, these bigots who are making the point that Jews control everything, they're wrong. So I'm going to go now and make sure that we at the Jewish Republican Committee make sure we're going to get everyone canceled and control everything that is said. Isn't there like, what is that exactly? The irony of that? Or I really do wonder sometimes if these guys say that shit because they are trying to make people be more racist. They are trying to make people be more anti-Semitic. And I do know a little bit about the history of the Zionist project and how a lot of people who like the founders of the project did kind of fundamentally understand that like anti-Semitism is actually kind of good for our project, because the more Jewish people are convinced that there is no safe place for them, that everyone is anti-Semitic, the more likely they are to like move out of wherever it is they do live and move to Israel, and then we'll have more people in Israel, and then our Zionist project will be more successful. So you have to wonder, like, how many of these guys are doing that because that's kind of like their underlying belief? Like a Rabbi Shmuley, that guy definitely is doing that, right? Like the crazy shit that he's always saying, like he's definitely trying to make people more anti-Semitic, right? Without a doubt, in my opinion. So that is part of the underlying.
Well, you can't be the victim
philosophy.
unless, you know, it's being the victim's all the rage nowadays.
And then I also think that all of us should be aware of that. Like a lot of these guys are trying to like bait you into unfairly hating Jewish people, and it's not the right thing to do, right? Like, so don't do that. Like, be a critical thinker, think for yourself, hear out the arguments like a big boy, put on your fucking big boy pants like Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes did here, and have like an in-depth logical conversation about whatever the topic is, you know, truthfully and honestly.
I agree.
Any other thoughts?
No, sir. No, sir. Bob, you got any tweets or are we?
No, man. Off? I mean, I haven't.
We haven't done that in quite some time.
We haven't. I have not spent as much time. I'm feeling
a happier man.
Yeah, I'm feeling rejuvenated in terms of the political commentary stuff. Like I want to do the political stuff more. But I'm feeling I'm not as interested in the like. Do you think so much bullshit on? It's so fake and gay.
Do you think this has anything to do with the fact that like we got into the WWE and the WWE started sucking more, so now we're going back into politics? Like politics started sucking, and we moved to WWE, and then it started sucking, so now we're back into politics.
Yeah, no, I think things are getting a little bit more interesting again. Like when it was all like, let's just go to war, and no one's listening, and Epstein's fake. You know, it was just like a black pill. But now I'm like, okay, now we're getting into a place now where there are interesting conversations to be had, and they are happening. And I'm like, okay, this is actually kind of fun again now. What I mean is like, I'm not as interested or motivated on whatever's happening on Twitter anymore, to the point where I haven't been on there enough to like find tweets of the week. They did definitely change the algorithm with whatever happened there, you know? So that might have something to do with why I'm not as interested in it anymore. It's like, I'm just seeing a lot of Zionist bot nonsense.
So am I. I see a lot of anti-Semitism, a lot, you know,
and
just
it's right. Like it's just not interesting. It's just like this is not real.
Hate,
this is fake, right? So you know, so it makes me not want to go there. Thanks, Elon. You know,
I see it. Yeah,
so, I don't know. Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, Doom Nation, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, Skags, press the little button. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We will keep putting out these episodes. We should have another fresh episode for you next week. And a little bit of WWE. Ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages, the Two Doom Men proudly present to you another episode of the Two Doom Men podcast. And if you're not down with that, I got 2 words for you. Goodbye.